Hello, everyone. It's Clarabelle, and welcome back to Clarity Chats with Clarabelle. Today's episode, I want to talk about something that happened 2 weeks ago. What happened? Well, apparently the holidays started. I know every year it starts sooner and sooner, it seems, but the minute Halloween was done, the very next day, I saw people putting up their Christmas tree. I'm like, I still have pumpkins and Halloween decorations in my house. Well, first of all, because my son's birthday is on Halloween, so I would still have that. But nonetheless, for some, the holidays are just a joyous time, brings so much happiness, especially if you have young kids, I think. I can relate to that when my son, who now is 13, was a baby, and just up until I would say 11 years old. After 11, he really wasn't as interested in Christmas as he was before, and that's part of growing up, or at least in our family it is. It seems to be a tendency with the kids, but nonetheless, I do remember the joy that it would bring me, the whole idea of bringing him gifts and surprises, and it just seemed so joyous. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate that it's joyous for you, that you might have grandkids, or it's just your holiday. And trust me, it is. I love the holidays. But also, for others, this season can be a tough reminder of loss, of stress, and the challenges that we face. Personally, 2024 has brought highs and lows for me and my family. I'm sure that I'm not the only one in feeling a mix of emotions as we approach this holiday season. From losing loved ones, as I did, I lost my mom 2 months ago today, the 21st of September, and then maybe some health challenges. I also experienced that or have been experiencing that. And also losing a job or losing a relationship. I know I'm not alone. As I said, my mom, my health, I did lose my job recently. This season looks different and is feeling different for so many of us. But in the midst of our busyness, the last thing we should do is neglect our feelings, neglect our health, our wellness, our well-being. And that's why today I want to share some practical tips in which we can take care of ourselves. Yes, we. I'm included in this. I talk about this with so many different of my clients that I've been building throughout the years with my side business, with my mission, with my calling. But I'm in it now. I'm going through it. And so I want to be able to share with you that even if it's just a little each day to support our mental and physical health during this season, it can make a world of a difference. Let's dive in, starting with some small actions that don't take much time, but will make a world of a difference. The first thing I want to talk about is let's acknowledge our feelings. Let's acknowledge our emotions. Check in with yourself and let yourself know, I'm letting you know that it's okay to be okay with those emotions that you're feeling at the time. Again, the holiday season, whatever holiday you may celebrate or not, but this season in general can bring on an enormous amount of stress. Just typically alone, people get stressed out during this time. They're just busy, 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 buying gifts, going out to dinners, hosting dinners, holiday parties at the office, all the things, church gatherings, you insert all the things that possibly you see in your own life. And just think about it, how fast this season goes because of all the busyness, all the things that we do. So in the normal life, in a normal day to day, it is challenging and busy. But then throw in, if you are going through depression, if you are sad because of a loss, of a job, of a relationship, of a loved one. If you are going through transitions in your life from maybe becoming an empty nester, or maybe you've just transitioned into a new role and you've started a new job. There's so many things that could fall into this category that can bring loneliness, even frustration. So you add the busyness around you, all the things that you see, and then you're feeling a certain way already with grief, loneliness, and frustration. It can stir up so many emotions on top of it all. This is why it's important to acknowledge, to stop and ask yourself, how am I feeling? Allow yourself to feel the emotions without judgment. So if you're having a tough day and you're having a moment of frustration, of grief, of sadness, of anger, just stop. Don't take it out on anyone else. Give yourself a moment to understand it's okay to feel this way. I was triggered a few weeks ago when I started hearing on YouTube ads people talk about the holidays, Christmas and Christmas gatherings, and just in general, gift giving. What should you get your loved one? And it triggered me because my mom's not here. And it was a big deal for us to try our best to get together with mom. I mean, our mother, right? And it's hard. My siblings and I have multiple things, have kids, jobs. I have a side business, so many things. We all are busy in our own right. And as my mom was aging, she was less busy and felt less noticed, if you will, and less needed. And now, of course, now in hindsight, I look back at that and it makes me so sad. It doesn't mean that we weren't trying to bring her to our homes and keep her engaged. It triggered me to see these ads, these YouTube videos on the holiday and how joyful and cheerful it is. And I had a moment of anger. I was sad at first, and then immediately I was angry. I was like, why are people already talking about this? Are you kidding me? And it put me into a bad mood. And I stopped. I sat down and I asked myself, why am I angry? Why am I angry? And I knew the answer immediately. It's because I'm sad. It's because this holiday season, I'm going to cry. It's because this holiday season is going to be the first without my mom. Hold, please. I had to regain strength there. I didn't get angry at myself for feeling those emotions. I sat with them and I acknowledged them. And I said, it's going to be okay. I will have to find a way to celebrate her, to continue to celebrate her. And we decided, my siblings and I, that we are getting together here at my house for Thanksgiving. And we're going to go through pictures. We have piles and piles of boxes that we've brought over from our home. And that's one of the things we're going to do every holiday that we can get together. And that's to go through pictures, speak of her, memories, all the things. So that brought me some peace. I tell you, when you're in the moment and you're frustrated, you're angry, you're sad, whatever the emotion you're feeling, give yourself grace, acknowledge the feeling, understand where it's coming from, and provide yourself some form of resolution. You may not immediately find a resolution at that moment, but at least giving yourself grace and identifying that each season is going to look different for you. And this season, right now, this is what you're going through. And it may not be that way the next holiday. So acknowledge. Number 2, create some form of a mini self-care routine or moments, micro moments. I know we're busy. When you're feeling overwhelmed, carve out a small moment, 10, 15 minutes, whatever is manageable for you and your life, to do deep breathing, to be in silence, to maybe take a walk outside by yourself, without your phone. No earplugs, silence. Setting some time maybe to journal, just 5 minutes. That's all it takes. And if you can't do it first thing in the morning, find some time throughout the day or perhaps before bedtime. And if you can do it several times during the day, that'll be great. Maybe take 2 or 3 5-minute breaks throughout the day. I'm currently creating a series right now of realigning and resetting my life right now. We're a couple of weeks before 2025, and before the new year hits, I really want to get back to a routine. It's not going to look the same as it did last year. 2024 has definitely had its highs and lows for me. So there was no such thing as a habit for me. There was no such thing as keeping habits. It was not easy. I could have done it, but that's a different conversation. One of the things that I've had to have a heart-to-heart talk with myself is the journaling piece. I understand now. I intuitively knew, but I have admitted it to myself as to why I've been holding back and not journaling. And it's the reality of seeing those words reflecting back to me. It's losing my mom, having to write that down. But it was therapeutic. And because of that, for me, I was able to kind of start putting one foot in front of the other. And it's going to take some time to realign and reset. But that's one of the many habits that I finally was able to embrace after my mom's death is journaling. These many habits can remind us that caring for ourselves doesn't have to be time consuming or complicated, and the end result can lead to peace during this season. Number 3, this is a hard one, but let's prioritize rest and say no when you need to. That's difficult, I admit. I'm a people pleaser. I am in People Pleasing Anonymous. I am part of that group and I'm trying every day. I've gotten a lot better, that is for sure. But still, it wants to creep up every once in a while. Yes to that. I could do that. Absolutely. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, why did I say yes to that? I know I'm not alone, but the holidays are already stressful, right? We've talked about being busy. We speak about the constant doings. Well, whether you're planning, buying, or hosting, you also are going to be asked for more of you. But remember, it's okay to say no. And it's okay to actually say no to certain gatherings or events that you don't want to go to. Because prioritizing your rest and your well-being is up to you. And if the people that are inviting you are unable to understand that, that perhaps maybe that should be a thought process of people or events or social gatherings that you need to disconnect from. Prioritizing rest is important, and saying no to things that you know is not going to allow you to have some downtime is key. Our bodies need downtime. We need rest. And the last thing you need during this season and holiday, if you're already stressed as it is, or if you're going through a season of change, of transition, of pain, of loss, the last thing you want to be is completely out of gas to the point that you will not be able to move. Remember, when our bodies do not get rest or the appropriate nutrition, sleep, and too much stress, that can cause other issues. So our bodies need downtime to reset, especially when the season gets busy. Number 4, focus on trying to balance a routine. I'm in this season of resetting and realigning, as I spoke of. And one of the things that I know I need, and we all need, is routine. And when things get out of whack, the season, with all of the busyness and all of the tasks that you have already, it's important during this time to maintain some form of habit. Maintaining a simple routine, even if it's just daily habits like drinking water, eating regularly, eating healthier meals, and moving your body. All of this can support not only your physical, but emotional health. In this season, in the holiday season, whatever it is that you're celebrating, tends to be a lot more food around. And if you have IBS or Crohn's or an inflammatory disease such as I do, you really have to make so much more of an effort to avoid certain things. So making sure that your day to day, you're feeding your body nutritious food. And if you know that you're going to an event or a place that you can bring something, bring a meal or bring a side dish that you know you can have. Or if it's an event that you can't bring anything, just stick to small little things. You don't have to avoid everything, but then you know that the next day you make better habits. I'm in the season right now with the loss of my mom that I'm not participating in a lot of different social events. I've limited myself and I have said no to some events already because I know that I emotionally cannot do it. And I know also that it's not going to suit my balance and my routine. But going back to focusing on balance and routine, these small efforts, just the small efforts that you can make on your day to day, can really ground us in the midst of the chaos of the season if you really truly invest in yourself. Number 5 is mindfulness. Practice mindfulness, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed. With the example that I said earlier, when I was feeling overwhelmed and seeing all of these different Christmas and holiday YouTube videos and just advertisement and emails, I sat down and I acknowledged my feelings, as I said before, but I also knew at that point I needed to bring something back in this whole reset and realigning talk that I've been doing. And I started again every morning and every evening to just breathe. 5 minutes is usually what I'm able to do right now, but I just sit in silence in my room and I take a deep breath in and out. There's all sorts of apps. Spotify actually has a lot of them, different playlists of breathing exercises. Apple Music as well does. YouTube has a load of them. So, I mean, you literally have the ability to search on any platform and find something that suits you, or just shut the lights off and shut your phone off and just sit in silence for a few minutes and take deep breaths in and out. But that allows us to really just focus on the now. And the way that I like to suggest to everyone to practice the mindfulness is, if you can't necessarily be in silence, then because our thoughts, I don't know what the saying is, but we have so many thoughts in a minute, in a second, right? It's difficult to be in silence. I get that. It is practice, and it is it is a skill that I don't know if I'll ever have the ability to say I have that skill to sit in complete silence and ignoring my thoughts and not being derailed by my thoughts. But what I like to say and what I like to practice myself when those thoughts come in is to then take that as a moment of gratitude. So I have negative thoughts or things I've got to do XYZ, I've got to do this. Okay, I'm so grateful that I'm able to do this. I'm grateful I was able to do XYZ. Whatever the grateful moment or what you want to appreciate at the time. I mean, you could just be grateful for sitting there in silence and having 5 minutes to yourself, whatever the case may be. But it's just small things like a quiet moment, or maybe it's just a hot cup of tea and sitting outside and hearing the birds in the morning, or a cup of coffee. But when we slow down, it helps us center ourselves It helps us realign. It helps us think of the present, be in the moment, and then maybe give you some time to be grateful in that moment, especially since we're being pulled in all different directions. So remember, mindfulness, gratefulness, however you want to fill it in for you, whatever works. Just take at least 5 minutes a day if you can. And 6, remember, you don't have to do this alone. If you're finding this season particularly difficult, reach out to a friend, to a family member, maybe consider a support group. I've taken the step back, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm not participating in some social events, and it's because it's just a little bit too much to bear right now for me, but I am a part of a support group. It's nice to be amongst people who don't really know me, who can share similar situations or journeys that they've gone through themselves or are going through. And then I also have this. This is an outlet for me as well. This, I feel, is a support in a way. And if I can help one person, then I feel validated. But sharing how you feel can ease the burden of loss, frustration, sadness. And you might find that others are feeling the same way. As we go through this holiday season, let's remember that prioritizing our well-being isn't selfish, it's essential. Every day doesn't have to be perfect, and it won't be perfect. But it's okay if this season doesn't look like it has in the past, if you need to sit out on some events, if you don't want to participate in some things, it's okay. But by incorporating some of the small habits that we've talked about today, we can help manage our stress and honor our health. I want to thank you for hearing me out today and for joining me here in Clarity Chats with Clarabelle. I hope that these tips can help bring a little more peace into your life and wellness into your season. I know that I'm doing my best this season with my loss and my transitions, and I appreciate you listening to me again. I do hope you take care, and remember that you are not alone. Until next time, my friends, bye.